Hello everyone, this is Karel Taibsha on behalf of Group 2 Hotel Gang of IPMI Executive MBA 2021. Today we are going to present our IPO analysis of PT Triputra Agro Persada Tbk, or TAPG. This video is made as part of our corporate finance assignment for Professor Roy Sembel. Our IPO analysis will consist of several sections going through multiple analyses: economic, industry, company, and financials, before we wrap up with our post-IPO analysis. Before we go into the analysis part, however, let's take a quick look at the TAPG profile. Next, please. Yeah, TAPG is a 16-year-old company and part of the Triputra group founded by TP Rahman. TAPG's core business, as the name suggests, is the palm oil producer and processor. However, TAPG also operates a rubber plantation as well, which is historically how the company was started. In April 2021, TAPG performed an IPO at the Indonesian Stock Exchange where it's issued 866.2 million of share at 200 rupiahs per share. Now let's move into our first analysis, economic analysis. As part of an IPO, a company must pay attention to the economic outlook of the market it operates in. Based on our analysis and considering that TAPG is an Indonesian company, TAPG is going into a somewhat uncertain but overall bullish Indonesian economy. The economic outlook of Indonesia is forecasted to recover quite strongly coming into 2022 as vaccination rate increase and restrictions lifted, which means economic activity can go into a full swing. Another economic aspect that can also serve as a boon for TAPG is that Indonesia is still one of the largest producers and exporters of palm oil in the world. Coupled with the foreseeable increase in demands by other palm oil consuming countries, with the exception of European countries, of course, TAPG is riding on positive notes and outlooks post its IPO.
Next, let's move on into the industry analysis. So, for the purpose of the TAPG, we'll focus on the palm oil, rubber, and plantation industries. So, as highlighted previously, we can see that indeed Indonesia is the world top producer and exporter of palm oil. So, looking at the industry, there are 3 points that I would like to highlight. So, if we can see the table on the left side below, so the 3 things that I want to focus is the production, the local consumption, and also the export volume. So looking at the production, basically we can see that the trend is decreasing in 2020. However, it slightly increased in 2021. So the production in 2021 will significantly increase as a result of better agricultural practices of the crude palm oil especially, and also palm kernel oil. Also favorable weather conditions and attractive prices. So it is estimated to reach 49 million tons of crude palm oil and also 4.65 million tons of palm kernel oil. So with the local consumption, again, the trend is actually increasing because the global demand for vegetable oil will depend on the success of the COVID-19 vaccination. So the vaccination success will increase economic activities as also highlighted before, which will then increase the consumption of vegetable oils, including palm oil. So if you look at the third one, which is the export volume, again, the trend was quite decreased in 2020 because of the definitely global impact of the pandemic. So the 2 biggest palm oil consumers, which is India and China, basically because they went through national lockdowns, that's why the trend was decreasing in 2020. However, the export volume is predicted to increase in 2021 in terms of volume and value. However, there will be some factors that are expected to disturb the demand, include the recurrence of COVID-19 in China and also other countries. So on the whole side, basically the palm oil outlook in 2021 onwards looks favorable compared with the average prices in 2019 and 2020. If you look at the right side, which is the rubber part, basically rubber is also the second most important agricultural commodity in the archipelago after palm oil. Regardless of the slow decrease in the share of manufacturers in Indonesia's GDP in the past few years due to declining rubber prices in the international market, so in 2020, Indonesia becomes the 3rd rubber producer after China and USA. So the strategy to increase productivity of rubber plantation is one key initiative to improve the value of the commodity value and the industry. So next we will discuss the company analysis as will be discussed by Pak Wima.
Through an initial public offering or IPO, Triputra Agro Persada released 866.2 million new shares with a nominal value of 100 rupiah per share, or 4.36% of the issued and fully paid capital after the initial public offering. Triputra also offered an IPO price of 200 rupiah per share. As a result, the company also received fresh fund of up to 173.24 billion from this IPO. Sales of the new iShare PT Triputra Agro Persada TBK set up and was immediately hit by the top auto reject when the first traded on the Indonesia Stock Exchange on Monday, March 3, 2021. Based on Bloomberg data, the stock with the code TAPG jumped 35% or 75 point to a level of 270 rupiah per share after its initial trading opened on Monday, April 12, 2021. Meanwhile, recorded TPJ market capitalization was at 5.36 trillion with a fair valuation of 16.14 times. The total frequency of TAPG share transaction is only 6 times with a value of 10.77 million. The company will use the fund obtained from this IPO to increase equity participation in its subsidiary, namely PT Agro Multi Persada. PT Agro Multi Persada is a manufacturer and distributes agricultural products. The company produces and markets a variety of animal feed for livestock. Furthermore, it will channel this capital investment in MP to MP subsidiary, namely PT Sukses Karya Mandiri, for capital expenditures and working capital in connection with the construction of the SKM factory in Central Kalimantan. SKM is a company engaged in oil palm plantation and oil palm mills. In addition, the company will also use the remaining fund for working capital in the form of purchasing fertilizer. So, in conclusion, the fund obtained are used to invest in the palm oil agro industry that they manage. Next.
Triputra financial analysis, how they perform over the period. Next slide. So this is the breakdown of their revenue, how they are generating their revenue from which department. So one of the large portion for their revenue is coming from crude palm oil, which is around 90% of their total revenue. Then they generate revenue from palm kernel and then fruits and slabs and rubber smoke seeds as well, which is double in from the last period. Next. As I say, they consistently their revenue is generated money, and in from the last period of 2019, they generated 21% higher revenue this year, in 2020, and therefore they also try to maintain their cost at the minimum level, which is consist of higher net return from their revenue. Next. As I mentioned in the first slide, how they generated revenue. So one of the biggest portion is like around 88% revenue is coming from crude palm oil. Now look over the growth ratio of this company is in from the previous year 2019, this company have generated very good sales record is 21%. COGS is increased only 0.3%, and the net profit is generated around 2 times from this previous year. Next. Operation revenue, as mentioned in earlier slides, gross profit has increased 26% from the previous slide. From the previous, gross profit has increased 11% from the previous year, and which is quite good if we compare in the last 3 years. And the net profit generated by this company in 2020 is 14%, which is higher ever in this company. In earlier in 2018-2019 is only 3.6%, 3.3, but in 2020 is 14%, which is very big number. Now let's move on to the assets balance sheet side. So the assets is slightly and consistently decreasing, but in 2020 is increased a bit from the previous year. but as well as they are capable to decrease their liability as well, and increase in their equity in 2020. As the result for these things, the earning per share has been increased by 48% this year in 2020. Now let's talk about the growth ratio. The total assets has been only increased by only 0.5%, but liability has been decreased by 13% over the period. Now total equity has been increased by 15 and around 16% in 2020, which is quite good because now each shareholder has more potential to earn the money from this company. Next, let's talk about the financial ratio. The liability to equity ratio is pretty good, which is 85.1. Is slightly lower because in the previous year they tried to reduce their liabilities throughout their assets. Next, to talk about the liability to assets. If we see, the liability to assets has been decreased, which is slightly normal from the previous year, but this year is good. But if we talk about the current ratio, current assets to current liability, this company has generated 1.3, which is shows that this company have a potential to pay all their debts, and still they have 0.3% of the assets in their balance sheet. Next. Now let's talk about the cash flow. The cash flow from this company in 2019 generate negative cash flow, as we saw in this picture, but in 2020 they generated twice cash from the operation activities, which constitutes in the next cash flow. So to increase their operation activities cash, they can able to turn their negative cash flow to the positive one. Next. These are the graph how the company's assets sliding over the period, and the liabilities decreasing as well, and next slide, how the assets keep increasing after they decrease their liabilities. This, which is the fundamental relation between liabilities and equity. If the liability is going down, equity automatically will going up. So after analyzing the financial ratio, let's talk about the listing date of valuation. So this company, Triputra's listing date in IPO is 12 April 2021. The total stock offer in the market is 863 million, and at the price rate of 200 IDR. In the next slide, we will talk about either this company is listed in undervalued or overvalued.
So looking at the data presented previously, as well as also looking at the historical trend presented in the slides here. So basically looking at the trend after its initial public offering, which is on the 12th of April 2021, the APG was actually, the price was on the 16th of November, was actually closed at 680. So also, as again, we see that it's the company able to pay the dividend, which is 15.11 per share in 6th of July 2021. So the total amount of dividends distributed is almost 300 billion, with dividend payout ratio 32.2% as recorded by the news. So by considering the significant increase since its first IPO, and also as we can see from the left side below, the short-term assets exceed its short-term liabilities, and also it's expected that the growth of the forecast for revenue and earning is also increasing, as also highlighted previously. So it somehow indicates a good performance of the company. So the question is now, is the APG overvalued or is it undervalued? So again, looking at so many graphs here, I want to highlight the first one is on the left top side, which is we can see also as highlighted before that the company actually increasing in its revenue. So as we can see, the last revenue in 2020 is 5.27 trillion, And in the right side below, which is the earning per share, the gross margin, net profit margin, debt equity ratio, and PE ratio. Basically, the one I want to highlight is basically on the price earning ratio versus the industry and versus the market. So if we can see here, the TAPG PE ratio is basically below the food industry as well as also the market. Why it's also indicated that this stock is basically good value, again because lower PE ratio indicates that the investor can be attractive to actually purchase the stocks. So in saying that, to add more that basically the price also is lower than the target of the equity analyst, which is 1500. So looking at the data provided as well as all the financial analysis explained previously, so we can say that the APG stock is actually undervalued. So I think that's all from us tonight. Thank you so much for watching. And if you like this video and analysis, don't forget to click the like button below. So again, thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye. See ya. Thank you.